everyone, and thank you for taking the time to review how our session notes will now be entered into TherapyBOSS to ensure compliance. Let's take a look at what TherapyBOSS looks like. We are clicking on a patient. We are going to click on test 4, and we have our evaluation in, and now we are looking to create a follow-up session. So we are going to have a new visit activity, and we are going to click on follow-up. The date and time will be the time of the session. In this case, we will assume that we are going to visit at 7 p.m. and we are going to click save. Keep in mind always that when we're looking at the minutes, we want to make sure that we are putting in the correct amount of what we saw. And here we are going to click on add note, and this time we are clicking on social work session note. Now, let's take a look. Here we have all the different pieces that have to be put in for each note. Do you have any risks and precautions that you'd like us to know about? For example, any of these pieces. Usually, that is not the case. We are going to click none. Observations. Did you have anything specific that you observed right when you came in? Was the client agitated? Was something going on that was a problem? No? No problem. Let's click none. Was there a change to the care plan? Did you add a goal? Did you change anything? Did you take off an intervention or did you change a goal? If not, leave those empty. They say, if any, you do not have to utilize them. The interventions performed, however, do have to be utilized. Let's click on interventions performed and notice that you are selecting interventions that you've originally done from your care plan. You're going to select what did you work on in this specific session. Did we teach caregivers the pros and cons of timeout? Did we guide the child in telling over traumatic events in a careful, paced way? Let's say we did both of those things. We're going to click OK. Please keep in mind that this is not enough just clicking the interventions. We also need to briefly describe the activity. So in this case, teaching the caregivers the pros and cons to timeout, we might write caregiver responded positively. IIC discussed why and when these might be implemented, etc. It just might be a sentence or two, but it's describing what's going on. Guide the child, you might write child had difficulty with learning this skill. However, IIC was able to work with them in a positive manner. Here's where you are giving details, and by the way, in case you're ever curious, you can always look back at the history of this specific intervention that you use. So as you continue on, your interventions are all being stored, so you can look back and say, how did this go when I tried it 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago? That's a helpful skill, that history piece. So here we put in some pieces about our interventions. Progress towards goals. Was there any progress towards goals? Let's select some of the goals. Let's say our goals. Remember, we only have 3 goals. That's what we're supposed to have for 3 months. But did we provide an education to caregivers? We did. Let's describe how the patient is progressing towards the goal. Parent was able to take steps towards this positive behavior. And you might get a little bit more detailed about how. So that would be our progress toward goals. Were any of the goals achieved? In this situation, you are going to say no, because when you have a goal achieved, it would mean that you're further on in the sessions, and usually you would add another goal. If you are achieving a goal, then you would probably add on another one because you're only working on 3 or 4. Are there any additional comments? Perhaps not. Instructions to patient or caregiver. This is something that needs to be filled out. What were the instructions that you gave them? So in this case, you might be working with the mom in an ARC row, and you would probably put in the homework from your ARC row curriculum. If you're not working with ARC row and you're working with the patient, you might give instructions such as take deep breaths, etc. for the next week. Put in one of the interventions that you're putting in. Supervision is not applicable. Place of service is, you are always going to be in the patient's home and residence. We are IIC, we are never in an office or a clinic. If you take them out to Dunkin' Donuts, you would do elsewhere, okay? But generally, it would be the patient's home or residence. Coordination, that is not applicable to us. As you see, this is OT, SWA, etc. So we're just going to click none at this time. Discharge planning will only be applicable if you are discharging the patient in the next couple of sessions. So usually it will be none at this time. Plan for next visit, if you'd like to put in here, which can be helpful. What are you planning on working on next session? What did the family choose to, say, we really want to talk about this next time, etc. If you don't have any plan for next visit, just click not applicable. And then you would click save. As you can see, it is green, which means I have done everything that I need to do. That means additional comments is not required. If I left something out that was required, this will be red. You are going to click save, and then you are going to click, is this activity complete and ready to be submitted? Your answer will be yes. If you stay here, keep on working, or not yet work on it later, we will not get this as a completed activity. So we are going to click yes, and then we are going to make sure, as always, to sync. If you're able to sync after each session and after you send it in, your notes will be uploaded in Cyber quicker so that your care manager will be able to see what's going on. It is best practice to sync after each session. At minimum, you must sync before every Monday at 2 p.m. Thank you for watching.